Get ready. Get set. It's time for the basement view. Hey, man, good evening. It is Friday, and I am happy as all get out. Glad you could be here. Glad I could be here. It's cold out there. It's snowing out there. Oh, well, that's just the way it is. How's it going? I got to tell you, a lot of stuff every 5 minutes as usual. A lot of stuff every 5 minutes. Welcome to the Basement View. Subscribe, hit that thumbs up, ring that bell, do everything you can do to help me get this algorithm to recognize this platform here. Hey, Carmen, how you doing? Did I start early? You know what? You might be right. You know, I was just saying on the other episode, the other day I happened to look down and I got 3 different clocks with 3 different times. Yeah, I'm looking at my watch and it does look like I'm a bit early. So one of these gizmos got the wrong time on it. So anyway, I'm going to have to correct that. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? I will correct that. Somehow, these timepieces got out of sync. Don't know how that happened. It is 7:57. So I'm about 4 or 5 minutes early. Jeez. Well, early bird gets the worm. Oh, well. So, all right, now I know which one is wrong. Okay, now I know which one is wrong. Thanks for letting me know that. Appreciate it. Man. Hey, the other thing is, I almost forgot to put cologne on. For some reason, I keep putting cologne on every time I go live. So just in case y'all can smell me, you know, I got some pretty decent cologne on. And I don't know why, but for some reason, I don't feel comfortable sitting here unless I got cologne on. You know, I don't want to be, I want to be smelling good for y'all, you know. Man, that's kind of crazy, but hey, it is what it is. Hey, you know what? Considering all things, hey, that's kind of mild, I'd say. So anyway, we should be approaching 7 o'clock right about here. I didn't really want to get started knowing that I'm early. That's crazy. So not only does one of these damn things not act right, it won't even keep the right time. That's screwed up. Okay, I give. Anyway, so today I'm gonna continue to talk about these damn billionaires and their shenanigans. Okay, so but first, another thing I just thought about. You know what? Funny, I just changed subjects like that. Somebody told me I act like them. And you know what? If I start acting like them, I'm gonna end it all. But I wanted to ask a question. In my last episode, did any of you notice the spider that photobombed me in the episode? If you didn't notice it, and doggone it, I forgot what the time was on it. But I was watching the previous episode, and a spider photobombed me during the episode. A spider descended down this side, right over here, some kind of way. Yeah. Over here somewhere. There was a spider, and it just eased on down. And I was like, look at that damn thing there. I was like, that's pretty cool. It was like Spider-Man easing on down behind me. And I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. So check it out if you get a chance to. And if you missed it, if you're on a telephone, you might not see it. You might have to widen out the screen or something. Hey, what's up, James? Hey, man, you know what? My bad. Apparently, one of my clocks is ain't even right, and I went live a little early. So, but I didn't really get into anything yet. I was just talking about this spider. I don't know if you saw it. Might have saw this spider that descended behind my back on the last episode. So, but anyway, back to these billionaires and whatnot. Oh, another thing. One of the things that everybody's talking about is the Obama sitting next to what's his face at the funeral. And they seem to be having a great time together. They look like buddy, and everybody is, discussing it one way or the other. Now, personally, I think you all know how I would have reacted during a sit down like that if they'd have sat that bastard next to me. So, ain't no need me getting into what I would have done. But, I told you how I felt the last episode also because of how Kamala Harris got snubbed when she was swearing in the new senator. So, hey, Charles. Yeah, Carmen, everybody was upset because Michelle wasn't there. I think Michelle might have saw the sitting arrangement and said, nah, fuck that. I'm not going to that shit. You think I'm going to sit there and be quiet? I think she might be tired of taking the high road right about now. I'm just going to guess and say that. She probably just tired of taking the high road, So that's probably why she wasn't there. And knowing her husband is always, he always got to be the good guy, personally, that dude couldn't have said shit to me sitting there, And on Morning Joe, which I haven't really been looking at, but sometimes I would go and just glance to see what the subject matter was, because every day what I hear is the same guest with the same conversation. See, they're not bringing anybody new on with new ideas, and that's hurting their show. Right now, I'm going to take a second here. Something just went down. Bear with me for a second. I got to turn this audio off for 1 second. Just hang tight. Okay. Had to remedy a little issue there. No problem. No foul. Anyway, on Morning Joe, Michael Steele had a little bit to say. So, let's check out Michael Steele. And he seems to agree with me about how we should be reacting to them. Let's hear it in his words.
Michael, I'm not saying we're walking in a winter wonderland.
Joe, you had your moment. Let me just finish the point.
I know, but
I get
tell
that.
us something we don't know.
Well, I'm telling you something that you seem to forget. And so let me make my point. You may not like it, but I'm going to make it. And the reality of it is, I take your civility argument, and you like to say 78 million people voted for Donald Trump. Well, 82 million people voted for Joe Biden.
Right.
And he didn't get that civility that you're talking about from Donald Trump in those 4 years.
Right.
So now the expectation is, oh, because he's won again and he got 78 million people, we all got to be civil to Donald Trump. Well, okay, I'm prepared to be civil.
Nobody said that.
You did.
No, I didn't say it.
I did.
No, so I didn't say everybody has to be civil.
The reality of it is, you're using the term civil. I've never used that term. I'm using your term. You put civility on the table.
You said we all have to be civil. There is a pushback that you have to have.
But Joe.
I'm just talking about Barack Obama.
I'm not. Fine. I'm not talking about that. My main point is, everybody's looking at this from a one-way perspective. How we need to approach Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. How the hell is he approaching us?
Yeah.
Right? The man wants to lock up citizens. The man wants to turn the government against him. How are we to respond to that? Are we supposed to be civil?
Michael, do you think we don't know that?
Doesn't seem like it.
Michael, why do you...
Not you. I'm just saying the
Michael,
broader
Michael,
you.
Why do you feel the need to create false choices?
I'm not creating a false choice. I'm using your words.
You have created...
I'm using you. You put civility on the table.
My words. You took me saying that it's not the end of the world, that Barack Obama smiled and talked to Donald Trump, and you're turning that into that we have no idea what's before us.
I'm not.
You will play very well today on Blue Sky and Threads and X. Congratulations.
I'm not playing to anybody. I don't have an audience here. I'm just saying. I don't have a particular. I'm talking to the American people just like you are. I'm using the words you use.
No, you're twisting.
And so I'm not twisting your words. So let me untwist them.
Okay, good.
Civility is a two-way street, as I said at the very beginning, and then you attacked that.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did. You did,
Michael.
You did. So you did. No.
You need to go back and look at the tape.
We can look at the tape, but the reality of it is, my general point, Joe, is that civility is a two-way street. If you want to throw civility on the table, I'm with you. I'm all down with that. I think absolutely what we witnessed yesterday with 5 living presidents sitting there at the funeral of a former president is a seminal American moment, all right? And it's an important one. And, yeah, the politics and the sort of funny moments that occur, those are great. But next week, we start a new regime. We start a new direction. And everybody wants us to behave a certain way in this new era. And I'm more than willing to do that.
Way?
Yeah.
Whatever it is, if it's civility,
if
it's accommodation to Donald Trump, as we see corporate America doing, if it's bending the knee, whatever it is. But my point is,
does anybody here think that we should accommodate Donald Trump?
Well, check that out. Now, first of all, they sure didn't want him to make his point. Joe was trying his best not to let Michael Steele make his point. I've never seen a person be interrupted more in a few minutes like that ever. Now, why Joe didn't want him to make his point, I don't know. But he certainly tried not to let that man make his point. But the point being, civility goes both ways. That's the way it is. Civility goes both ways. And the right, they don't give no fuck about no civility. Okay? They've proved it 1,000 times. Just like the other day where that woman's husband, Senator, can't remember her name, Fisher, Senator Fisher, Deb Fisher. Her husband didn't give a damn about civility. Okay? Her husband showed the world that he did not even intend to acknowledge that woman standing there. Okay? That's a lesson in civility for your ass, or the lack thereof. So, you know, like Michael Steele said, you know, once this guy gets in, all of a sudden everybody's supposed to act right, you know? Now, he don't have to act right worth a damn, and they don't have to act right worth a damn. But once he's in office, everybody's supposed to act right. You know, tell you what, the hell with that. Forget that. Ain't nobody thinking about that. So, just saying. And rarely, well, lately, I guess I have agreed with Michael Steele some. But, you know, used to years, I really didn't agree with a whole lot that Michael Steele said. But, you know, on this one, I'd say he's right. Nobody thinking about no civility now. Now we supposed to be civil? Really? Take the high road? Really? Yeah, anyway, before I get heated up, also this evening, I'm going to revisit those billionaires out there in California that want to start their own city. They want to buy up the land and start a city. And isn't it unusual that they all want to start these little cities? You know, who they gonna populate these cities with? You know? And what kind of governments are these little cities gonna have? Now, personally, if they say, we're just going to populate them with like-minded people like ourselves. Okay, if you want a city full of nobody but you all, I guess that's cool. You know, I ain't going to interfere with that myself. But don't need any financial assistance. Don't need any utilities ran to your city. Don't need any roads and bridges built to your city, you know, with taxpayer money. All right? Don't need none of that. You know, don't try and get the water rights from somewhere else to supply to your city. Okay? Apparently, that's what these people seem to think. Also, another guest on Morning Joe, I'm going to play him right quick. Scott Calloway, I think his name is, you know, gave us a little lesson on why the billionaires are doing what they're doing and what they should be doing. So, matter of fact, let's have a look at Scott right now, because he is spot on with some of his analysis. Let's check it out.
And what is so shocking, I mean, just from a personal standpoint, what's the point of having all this money if you aren't at some point going to show some fidelity as a 40 or a 50-something-year-old man that has the wealth of the GDP of a Latin American nation to actually standing up and showing some fidelity to American values? Bezos has got the yacht. Tim Cook, Jensen Huang at NVIDIA is worth more than Intel or Boeing. At what point? When do the men show up here? When do the Americans show up here? So this is not only incredibly shocking but not disappointing from Trump, but where's the leadership? Where are the men that have such blessings and such prosperity from the rule of law and capitalism and competition? And we don't need more mergers and acquisitions. We need more breakups. One company owns 2/3 of all social media globally. Meta. One company has 93% of all share of all search. Google. And if you don't think every day we don't pay higher prices, one company has 50% of all e-commerce. Amazon. The The percentage of revenues that have gone to Amazon from third-party retailers has gone up from 24 to 50%. Look at the rents that parents are paying on Facebook when 24% of teen girls are now addicted to Facebook. 6% of our teenagers are clinically addicted to drugs and alcohol. 24% are addicted to Instagram. And the number of teen girls self-harming has doubled. So if you want higher rents as a consumer, as a retailer, and as a parent, that's where we're headed.
Now, understand, the man laying it out like it is. If we keep doing this, everything gonna be higher for us. Now imagine that 24% of young girls addicted to Instagram. See, that's Zuckerberg all day. Facebook and Instagram. And then, as rich and powerful as he is, and everybody noticed, he went down to Mar-a-Lago and bent the knee. You wonder, okay, why did he do that? Well, hey, it helps his bottom line. It helps put money in his pocket to let those people tell lies on Facebook and Instagram. You know, turn the far right loose, just like Elon Musk did. Turn them loose and let them go and tell all the lies they want to tell. Yeah, he kissed the ring. Of course he kissed the ring, especially, you know, understand something. Why go to battle with Donald Trump? Why go to battle with him? You know, Donald Trump was talking about throwing him in jail for not letting him get on Facebook and lie. Now, Zuckerberg didn't have any problem with Trump lying, but it was Biden's insistence that they tone it down, all the lying. It was the Biden administration that was pressing them to turn the lies down. Zuckerberg had no problem with Trump lying. But when Trump said, when I get back in, I'm going to toss your ass in jail, Zuckerberg said, fuck that. You know, let me run down here, kiss the pinky. And when I kiss this pinky, he gonna get up off me, and I'm going to make more money. Because in a lying environment, I get all the advertisers in the world. In a lying environment, you know, the environment for liars and those that love them, that's just the way it is. So, I don't know. We in trouble. That's all I can say. We in trouble. Also, Scott had something else that I thought was really interesting about what's going on with the billionaires. And you know, while I would like to stop spending so much time on the billionaires, it's just every day there is a new revelation, a new operation they're putting into place or into play that is going to affect all of us in some crazy way. They're teaming up and getting into billionaire groups and doing all manner of weird, coming up with all kind of weird shit. James says it's the end game now. Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, I got a problem with that. That's why I play this stuff, to let everybody that looks at this podcast, just so you can see the stuff they're doing. Because, you know, if it's in your neighborhood, you want to know. And trust me, you want to get down to them city council meetings and find out what's going on, because somebody could be knocking on your door one day and saying, I'm going to need you to pack your shit up and get on out of here because this happened at the last city council meeting and you no longer have a house. You know? So this is why I've been concentrating on this stuff, because these people are up to no good. Now, I go into Gary and look around, and, you know, I've never seen anything like it in Gary. These people are buying everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. And I'm like, whoa. I've never seen, back in the day when Gary was jumping, I've never seen whole blocks being renovated. I've never seen that before. And as a matter of fact, someone told me today that they were receiving phone calls from places overseas about buying their house. Now, I get the same phone calls. I don't know where they're from because I don't give them a chance to say anything to me. You know, that's just me. But I've been getting phone calls myself out here where I'm at. And every day, want to talk to you about your property. Talk to this clique, motherfucker. I'm sorry. You know, but this is what they're up to. This is important shit. We need to pay attention. Because, you know, they got a plan. And they didn't put it in play. So anyway, what I want to do also again is I'm going to play another clip from Mr. Calloway, and they text you and send you postcards of your house. Yeah, you know what? You're right, Elise. They do. I don't know how many times I've gotten a postcard with a picture of my house on it. You know? Now, I don't know, but that's some weird shit. You know, if you wanna get me to not trust your ass, if you wanna get me to pay you real close attention and not trust you worth a damn, send me a picture of my own house. Okay? Send me a picture of my house. I don't want to hear shit you got to say. I don't know who thought that was a great idea. Hey, let's send out pictures of their house. Yeah, because the postcard says, we'd like to buy your house and whatever else. I think that's what it says, because I usually kind of tear it up when I see it. But I don't know who thought that was a great idea. And, you know, you can go on Google Maps and pretty much get a picture of any address in America. And I thought that was weird the first time I found that out, which was years ago. You can literally go go and get a satellite view of your house or anybody else's house. That's the world we live in. So, what can I tell you? But these bastards got a plan. Hey, let's listen to what Scott got to say about the billionaires.
The fact that billionaires are getting richer and richer by the second while screaming socialism. And what does that say about where American capitalism is going over the next 5-10 years?
I think it comes down to a basic question. What is America? And my kind of economic role model is Peter Drucker. I think an economy in America exists to create a robust middle class. The most ascendant countries over the last 20 years have been China and India. And it's a one basic litmus test. How many people are you bringing into the middle class? The greatest innovation in history is not the iPhone or the semiconductor. It's the American middle class that beat back fascism in the middle of World War II, has financed and built the greatest innovations, whether it's radar, whether it's the internet, whether it's vaccines. The middle class in America is the greatest innovation in history. And people like to fall back into this right-wing notion that it's naturally self-healing. It's not. It's an accident in history. Typically throughout history, you have a small number of people who weaponize government. They're very talented. They aggregate power. They weaponize government, and they aggregate more and more spoils. And then the good news is it's self-correcting. This level of income inequality is usually self-correcting. The bad news is the means of self-correction are typically war, famine, or revolution. And if you want to talk about tax policy, the myth in tax policy is that the rich don't pay their taxes. That's just not true. The fulcrum is the following. There's super earners and super owners. The folks around your table are probably considered super earners. You make exceptional livings, but it's all current income reported on a W-2. And if you live in New Jersey or New York, you're probably paying 48 to 52% tax rates.
Right.
But if you're a super owner, I make my living starting and selling businesses. My last business, which was sold for $160 million, I'm very transparent about money. This gestalt or zeitgeist that people should not talk about money is nothing but an attempt to keep poor people down, because rich people talk about money all the time. It's important to be financially literate. The first $10 million for my $160 million sale was tax-free. My effective tax rate over the last 10 years has been 17%. The average tax rate on the wealthiest 25 Americans is 6%. Corporate tax rates are at their lowest point since 1939. At the same time, taxes have gone up for the super owners. Now, the bottom 50% don't pay much federal income tax, but they pay a lot in usage and consumption taxes. But this misdirect talking about tax rates misses the point. It's the tax code, which has gone from 400 pages to 4,000. And that 3,600 pages, quite frankly, is there to screw the middle class and continue to transfer more money to the super wealthy. The fastest growing demographic group in America is not seniors. It's not Latins. It's billionaires. We had 500 billionaires 10 years ago. We now have 2,500. So if you want to cram more and more wealth into a smaller group of people, we're on our way. And the weird thing about America is that we support it because our superpower is our optimism. The Achilles heel is that 99%, the bottom 99% who are getting screwed, don't mind these policies because they believe at some point they're going to be in that 1%. But where are we? We're in a country that's had unprecedented prosperity, but similar to the way William Gibson described the future, it has not been evenly distributed. When 40% of U.S. households are struggling with some sort of medical or dental debt, when a quarter or 20% of households with kids are food insecure, and yet we have one man, Jensen Huang, and I like Jensen, who is now worth more than Boeing. I mean, something is wrong here. And just let me go to the psychology of happiness. I think a lot about happiness because I struggle with it, Joe. You effectively, once you get above a certain level of wealth, you get no incremental happiness. So why on earth would you not go back to a tax policy of the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where, say, above, pick a big number, 10 million, you actually pay more than 10%, maybe more than 20%, maybe more than 50%, because the difference between 30,000 a year for a household and 50,000 is enormous to the well-being of that household. Low-income kids in low-income households have higher resting blood pressure, but the difference between making 10 million a year and 15 million a year offers you no happiness.
How about that? How about that? You don't get no bump in your happiness between 10 million and 50 million. You know what? That kind of makes sense. That kind of makes sense. I can't imagine you being happier after you got $10 million already. You know, because at that point, you can do anything you want, you know. 50 million, 100 million, 200 million. You know, at what point do you feel like, you know, hey, I'm getting happier and happier? Which brings me to Elon Musk. Here's a guy that is so far out of millions that What is his motivation? Money is not his motivation. The dude has 400, almost 500 billion dollars. That is 400,000 million. What's this guy's motivation? At this point, I think he just wants to rule. And I think the quickest way he gets to do it is through people like Donald Trump. He recognizes Trump is about money and greed. And he knows Trump can be manipulated by money. So, and he invested quite a bit of money in Trump. So, but this is the motivation now. It's not money and happiness. Yes, he does recognize that about Trump. He does recognize that about Trump. And apparently, this is not isolated to America. This man is all over the world trying to put his thumb on the influence in other countries, going so far as to threaten other countries and acting as a representative of the United States. Now, old Scott a minute ago said usually the self-correction for this kind of situation is war, famine, or I forget the third one. But that's the direction we're going in. That's the direction we are going in. We got a president convicted and sentenced today sentenced to freedom. Unconditional discharge. I convict you and I sentence you to being free. That's what being a billionaire is all about. That's how. But do you see the connection to billionaires? That is showing the entire world that the American justice system, literally the American justice system itself, bent the knee. The entire justice system in America bent the knee. Yeah, he's a felon. Yeah, like Martha Stewart. Well, you know what? Martha Stewart, you know, she went to jail and did her time at least, you know? This guy, you know, how do you sit for a court hearing and hear somebody say, I sentence you to unconditional discharge, unconditional freedom? Now, we've often heard the term two-tier justice system. Well, you just got a picture of that. You just got a picture of a two-tier justice system. And the common denominator, the billionaire. Okay? The common denominator is the billionaire. Now, I believe in France, they have a system that doesn't allow you to make $400 billion. I'm going to have to check that because there's a couple of systems that don't allow that. But for some reason, there seems to be in this country, and Scott Calloway just alluded to that. People seem to think that's okay because that might be them one day. Why do we need a person to be able to get $400 billion? Why do we need that? What do we need with a guy holding $4 billion of the world's resources from the rest of the world? Common denominator is the billionaire. So we gotta pay attention. Gotta at least pay attention to the shit they pulling. Okay? So let's look at this last video. This is another excerpt from the one I played the other day where they're out in California trying to buy up, I think they bought 20 or 22,000 acres to build a city. And they're upset because the residents in adjoining cities don't want to sell their farms. And they're literally suing. How can you sue a person for not wanting to sell you something? You know, that's how crazy a billionaire is. You say nobody should make more than the president. Well, you know, the president only makes $300,000 a year. You know, let's face it. We're in a capitalistic government. You know, that's our system. You know, capitalism works fine if you don't allow those at the top to put their thumb on the scale and inch it over to them, which is what we've done. Capitalism does work. The free market does work until you let the greedy at the top, which is what we've done, put their thumb on the scale. And we've willingly done it. And boy, we're about to get a lesson for doing it. So, I mean, should there be rich people? Sure, you can, you know, nobody don't want someone to be able to exceed, excel, and get rich. But there also has to be a limit. Nothing should be without a limit. Okay? Nothing. Let me play this clip. Check it out. More about the billionaires.
Legacy systems of governance keep individuals from reaching their full potential.
Andreessen, one of California Forever's billionaire tech investors, is also an investor in a company called Pronomos, which is trying to build its own radical tech cities around the world. In Honduras, Pronomos purchased land unbeknownst to locals in order to build Prospera, a libertarian, Bitcoin-powered city, and now that the country wants them out, the company is suing to establish autonomy.
Prospera has had a very negative impact on our community. But the mental stress that we are under, we don't know when our home will be taken from us.
Prospera is being very slowly built along the ocean in an area with some existing infrastructure. California Forever brings the idea to the U.S. with just as much mystery and libertarian zeal.
I first met Jan. He came to City Hall and met with me, and I had my city manager there as well. And the one thing that's always stuck out with me in that discussion was we asked him, what kind of governance are you talking about if you're making a city? And he said, we're going to do something completely different. It won't be what you're used to. And we asked him to go a little further, and he did not. But it wasn't going to be like a city council kind of thing.
I think the biggest disadvantage will be to the individuals in the new community because you don't have an elected official to hold accountable. You don't have anyone that you can directly communicate your concerns to.
This is a key promise of the so-called network state movement, a tech separatist effort to create private, self-governed utopias. Schwamek has claimed he isn't interested in the movement, but several of California Forever's top investors are involved, and its creator called the would-be city a prime example of his idea.
The network state is about the book, is about the bare land version of it, right? Which is already being tried. You're seeing it in Northern California.
Donald Trump, supported by Andreessen and other Silicon Valley libertarians, has a similar plan, but he calls them freedom cities.
No, you can't serve two masters, is my opinion. So one will always suffer. Either you'll answer to the people that you're serving or your investors, but you really can't do both.
Schwamek has talked repeatedly about removing regulations around building, which is key to the network state's self-government plan and a dream for developers.
And when I look at all of these plans or places that I visited, I often wonder, was the original vision somehow more radical? And then it got watered down because the fire department said something and the city said something.
I don't believe that this is just going to be a development. I think this is going to be an experiment about forms of governance. And when you have somebody like Mark Andreessen writing the Techno-Optimist Manifesto, claiming that words like sustainability are a curse on society, I think that's extremely exaggerated.
When we spoke with Solano County locals and officials, they voiced some similar concerns about the proposed city, its size, and how it impact the generations of residents.
My fear is that building a development like this, where it could be up to 400,000 people in a county of 450,000 people, it's not being built for the people of Solano County.
And we have to deal with the consequences. We have to deal with the congestion on Highway 12. We have to deal with the increase in taxes that could possibly happen or occur. We have to deal with, if we're in a drought year, how is water going to be re-rationed?
There was uncertainty about promises made to working class residents.
They're flat out lying to people about what it is.
And worry about California Forever's impact on the environment and economy, which was validated when the Solano County Board of Supervisors released an economic impact study. The report was prepared ahead of a November ballot initiative to change zoning laws to allow the city's construction to begin. Polling already showed mass opposition to the plan. Then this happened.
California Forever announcing today its East Solano plan will no longer be on the ballot in November.
Now the company is promising to make adjustments and try again in 2026. But the issues they face run deeper than deficits. Many of them are a matter of just misunderstanding the region. Here's what Jan Schwamek told billionaire investor, LinkedIn co-founder Reid Hoffman about the county's farmland.
We've been able to purchase this property because it is some of the worst soil for agriculture within 100 miles.
Locals vehemently disagree, pointing to the $1.3 billion in revenue that farms and related businesses produced in 2023.
They have taken over a lot of land that has been dry farmed and has brought protein to the country and the world for 3 and 4 generations.
And in this era of climate change, when water is becoming scarcer across the country and across the world to use for crops, to be able here to set an example of how we can produce significant food, important food, without relying on water, it's hugely important.
Well, these people, they seem to be hell-bent, on misleading. Did you notice how the one lady said when they had a meeting with him, they wouldn't explain what kind of government it would be? it's going to be something different than you've ever seen? No shit. I believe that. I absolutely believe that. That's their intention. So, again, coming to a town near you. These people are trying all different kinds of ways, all different kinds of ideas. Yes, Project 2025. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you notice they talked about how sustainability is, is, what did he call that? Was that, I can't remember the term he used, but it was, it's a curse. Sustainability, come on. And how they want to create a city with no regulation. They don't want to be regulated in any way. Now, what does that tell you when a billionaire tells you he doesn't want to be regulated in any way? And the governance is going to be something like you've never seen before. But I ain't going to tell you what it is. Keep an eye out, okay? Keep an eye out, because it's only going to be more of this. It's only going to be more of this. That's what we got to look forward to. And if I got anything to do with it, I am going to be here pointing it out. Because I think that as long as if you know what's going on, you can prepare yourself. That's the reason I'm doing this. If you know what's going on, you can prepare yourself. Okay? Hey, it's Friday. Doggone it. I hope you all have a good weekend. I'm going to cut it right here and reflect and say I appreciate y'all for taking the time to pay me some attention. And in return, I'm going to try and bring more here to try and keep you informed. Okay? So, on that note, I'm going to hope all of you have a good weekend. I think I'm going to start the weekend now. I'm going to spend the weekend looking and keeping my eyes open and try to get back here Monday to let you know what I find out. Okay? So on that note, I want y'all to have a good weekend, stay healthy, and I'll see you Monday at 7 o'clock. Take it easy.